All right, everybody. So, good morning. My name is Zach Warmoth, Field Supervisor in Macon County from Terry Dunn Pod in District 3. I'm going to be conducting a training today on the EC Case Pal. Before hopping into the Excel workbook, we're going to first talk about the program in general, including the goal of the program and how we want to reach that goal. So, the official goal of this program, in a nutshell, provide the EC with a robust and user-friendly program to increase interview and documentation thoroughness, improve documentation and processing quality, and provide time-saving quality of life features during day-to-day casework. And to basically break down that statement, work smarter, not harder. This program hopes to be a one-stop shop. This program also aims to save the EC time on the smaller pieces of the puzzle so we can focus on the big piece of the puzzle, quality and getting the case right. After getting comfortable with this program, the ultimate goal is to allow more time to get the case right while not sacrificing other still very important steps or processes. So that begs the question, how does the CasePal help us accomplish that goal? So we got four little bullet points here we're going to kind of quickly go over just so y'all understand how the program functions and what we're looking to do. First, it does have macros and coding. I want to be hesitant when I say the word macros, especially for our accent users. Back in the day, macros are not something to be scared of here, but I do want you to know the functionality. As far as you're concerned, it's just hitting the button. It does everything else. So there are numerous buttons throughout this program that automate certain tasks. The button functionalities range from simply going from page to page to complex processes like importing your schedule from EBMS into the program itself. Next, we're looking to make this a central location. The CasePal was designed to hold as much information as possible in a given month. It holds all of your pre-check information, interview scripts, templates, tools, resources, guides in a single place. Instead of using dozens to hundreds of different Word documents for your cases each month, this program was built with the intention of using a single unique copy per month. So basically the thought process is you'll have EBMS open and you'll have the CasePal open. Next, and probably my favorite feature, is going to be autofill. You will hear me use this term quite a few times today. When I say it, I'm referring to case notes and declinations. These features are some of your biggest time savers. If certain information is filled out within the CasePal, you will not have to input that information again elsewhere. We'll talk more about that again later, but as a quick example, once a case number is typed in there, you're done. You don't have to type it in again. It's going to pull it over to all the other spots in the CasePal. It's going to pull it over into declinations. If you have a customer's name, it'll pull that over into case notes and declinations, etc. We'll go into that a little bit more later. Lastly, quality checks, pop-ups, and controls. This program has numerous places to give reminders, checklists, and the all-important green boxes. You'll hear me say that term a lot as well. To put it simply, the green boxes are a key component to not only ensure thoroughness, but save your time while using that autofill. We'll talk about that a good bit later. So first, let's go ahead and go into the guide itself. Y'all all should have received a copy of this alongside the case palette itself. Plus, there's also a link to this within the case palette in case you ever need it. Everything we're talking about here today, it's pretty much going to be right here in this guide, just in a different format. So make sure to reference this, especially as a new user when you're getting comfortable. There will be certain things I don't go over quite as much as I do in the PDF, and other things which I may stress more right now. So please, use this resource as needed. So going over, we have the little links here. Go into each little section. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on this right here, but we have an introduction, setup, first time going in here, etc. So we're going to kind of go quickly through here. Y'all have this information. I don't want to take too much of your time going through it, but we will talk about this here in a moment. Finally, I'm going to leave this on the final page just for a bit. I would like to give a huge, huge shout out to some of the ECs that have been involved. So finally, I want to give that shout out to Jennifer, Diana, Melanie, Jackson, Emily, and Jessica. These individuals have used this program day in and day out for months to years. Thank y'all. Just so you know, I appreciate y'all's assistance, willingness to try something new, like the case file, a lot. So thank y'all for that. Anyway, so a few more things to cover before jumping into the program itself. First, and I think this might be the most important thing, I want to spend a few minutes talking about getting comfortable with the case file. Changing how you do a process, it's a big deal. I get that. The case file will be a big adjustment. There is a learning curve. It will take time to get used to. Give it that time, okay, gal? Give it that time. For us here in our pod, and for the people I'm really specifically talking to right this second, today is October 31st. I would tinker around this program when you have time over the next few weeks, but continue to do your normal case processes for the upcoming November renewals, so 1st to 15th. Thankfully, everyone has a perfect time to begin fully using this program that allows ample time to get adjusted to it. Renewals rescheduled starting on November 17th. That smaller caseload in the last half of the month will allow the needed time to traverse learning process, okay? So for any management viewing this training who are outside of my pod or even district, please feel free to reach out to me with any questions you may have when this training concludes. But on that note, I would like to say Jennifer and Jackson have both graciously decided to help out if we need it. So anybody within our pod, y'all are welcome to holler at Jennifer Landrose, Jackson Stevison, and ask any kind of questions. They know how this program works. They know the ins and outs. They've used it. So whether it's functionality, whether it's best practices, give them a holler. And of course, anyone within the pod, give me a holler. I'm here to help, okay? So with all of that said, let's go ahead and hop into the program real quick. So the first time we get into the program, y'all are going to see some pop-ups here at the top. First time y'all do it. These pop-ups are very important. Can't do this one live since it is a one-time thing when you open up a new program, but we do have those pop-ups here in our handy dandy PDF guide. So I'm going to go over a few things y'all are probably going to see. So first one y'all are definitely going to see, you're going to get this big warning right here. Macros have been disabled. We do have to enable this content. This is a macro-enabled workbook. And like we talked about before, macros are what makes this thing function, what helps it save time, what helps us do all the tedious tasks. Okay, so we have to enable that content. If that is not enabled, your workbook will not function. Okay. The next is there's a possible pop-up. You'll have something about ActiveX. Here are some steps to go through to resolve that. So they're there if you need it. Trust Center, etc. Lastly, you could get a little thing that says blocked macros. On this one, you might have to close the case pal and follow these short little steps here. Just so y'all are aware, this is a one-time thing. So once you get the case pal up and running, you won't have to do those steps again. Now, if there is a new version that's shared later down the line, like say if something changes with COLAs or there's some new case note template, I'll send out a revised version of the case pal, and y'all have to do those steps again just that once, and then you'll be good to go. So next, let's get back into the case pal itself. Once we come here, like we said earlier, there is the guide here at the top. So if y'all ever need a reference, can't find it on your desktop, you can open it up there. It'll get you where you need to go. Once again, we got user information here. This is information you'll fill out once when you open it up, and it'll be saved for the rest of the way. So we're going to go ahead and pick your time zone for us, Central Standard. Month, this is where we're looking to do our work in. So for our example here, we're looking to start in November. Sometimes, especially later down the line, you'll be looking to work in December, January, February, etc. So it is important to pick this month because that's where a bunch of the dates come from. So we're going to do November, throw our name in here, throw our title, and then we'll simply get our RACF in there. Okay. One thing I will notice, all of those fields were green. We'll talk more about green boxes. They're required. So just kind of know if you see green somewhere, we got to get that information in there because that's what helps this program function and ultimately save some time. All right, so the next thing, we'll go over these settings here in a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and go down to the monthly import monthly schedule. So this is a very detailed little instruction list. It does have to be done pretty precisely, but it's relatively easy. I've went ahead and imported the schedule from EPMS and removed some of the customer information, so we're not breaching any kind of confidentiality. So I won't go through this process on screen, but you're basically going into EPMS, searching for appointments, putting in your date range. You know, in this case, we would go in here and we put 11/1 through 11/30. We want to get that whole month. Go down to the bottom, export it after we get your RACF in, hit this pop-up. Do not hit this button when you open Excel. Notice this is in red. This is a key thing here. Go up here, hit the little thing in the top left, and we'll go ahead and copy this data, and then come back into the case pal, and we're just going to hit this button right here, okay? So we're going to pretend I just did all of those steps right here on screen. It takes about a minute, depending on EBMS and how quickly it loads. And this is something you'll do once during the month. It is possible you could do this multiple times during the month. Just know that sometimes, depending on if a case was rescheduled or canceled, it could load over data depending on when that scheduled time slot was. That should be pretty rare, but just be aware that that could be a possibility. So let's go ahead and do our import monthly schedule. Notice we got a pop-up here. You'll see quite a few pop-ups throughout this case pal. They're there to help you tell you something important. You'll kind of get used to where the pop-ups happen, that kind of stuff, so you can quickly hit yes or no or okay. But for the first time, really read what it's saying. So once again, this is kind of telling us it needs to be done precisely the above steps. If the button's been used multiple times, it could override information. So it's kind of giving you those warnings. So we understand that. We're going to go hit yes. Now, just be aware, it is going to look like your program is breaking. You're going to get a little hourglass. That's okay. Hang tight. It is doing hundreds, thousands, if not tens of thousands of actions right now. It is taking your schedule from EBMS, the format it was in that Excel, and basically breaking it down and moving it to different places all throughout the program. That's about as simple as I can make it go on there. So just know this process will take a little bit of time. But once it's done, it will push you over to our overview screen. In this case, I am using one of our workers here in Macon County schedule. It's put their whole schedule here on our overview screen. All of their scheduled appointments, all their case numbers. We do have on the overview screen slots for every time period, 8 a.m. through 4 p.m. for anyone on Eastern Standard. It will be 7 a.m. through 3 p.m. to kind of make up for it. Once again, since we picked November earlier, we're looking at November overview. We got all of our dates here. It goes through the 31st. So if we did have some renewal reschedules and we imported, they'll start showing up down here a little later in the month or over here. Okay. All right. So the next thing, this page is simply intended to give you a snapshot of your caseload for the month. Everything on this page is purely informational, but things do change depending on other actions you take elsewhere in the program, which we'll talk about soon. You'll notice there's some color coding at the top, so just kind of make note of that. Right now, these are all white. There's no applications. These are just scheduled appointments. We don't know yet if there's an application or not, okay? Once again, each one has its own unique spot, unique times. Notice we have like a lunch period here. On the 11th, no appointments. We have a holiday that day. Of course, right here we got weekends, so it's meant to be used as a quick guide to kind of keep track of your caseload. When you have 100, 120, 130 toward the end of the month, 200 for some people, this is going to help you kind of have a great idea of where you're at on your caseloads. All right, so next thing we're going to go to is the 1st through the 5th. I will say 1st through the 5th, 6th through the 10th, etc. through these buttons here, all function the exact same way. Okay, so we're just going to go over one of them, but just know they mirror each other, except they show their associated cases on that day. So let's go into the 1st through the 5th. We'll notice we pulled into basically a 5-day snapshot here. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. These, of course, look like they don't have any appointments because, hey, weekend, yay, coming up, awesome. So this page gives you all of those cases. The primary focus of these pages is to give you a visual representation of that time period schedule, as well as a location to update your case's statuses. This area also introduces our first really important button, the prepare case for interview. Each button directs you to one of 544 slots within this program. So there is a unique spot for every single case you will touch. That information will still be there. It's not going anywhere. And if you're a pack rat like me, I like keeping all of my information. I still have my first case note that I did starting here as an EC1. This will keep that for you, okay? So Let's do a couple little scenarios. Just for fun, we'll say it's the third. We have these three cases. If they turn in an application, perfect. It's going to do a visual representation. It's going to turn it to a certain color saying, hey, that's been provided. Say we had this case, application provided, we did our pre-checks. Fantastic. Here's another visual representation. We'll say this person, we talked to them a little bit earlier. We actually went ahead and did their interview, but we did not process it. There's another new color. So real quick, let's go ahead and jump back to the overview. Once again, you'll see that these colors did change. So this is going to give us a great representation where we can quickly look and say, hey, this person did their application, but maybe I didn't do their pre-checks yet. This person, I'm ready to interview. And maybe that interview completed is somebody where I processed that case, or I interviewed the case, but I just haven't quite got to process it yet. So once you kind of get used to this screen, you kind of keep track of your day, because sometimes when we're busy, especially here, with renewals coming up, if we get a day where a lot of applications are turned in, it can get hectic. Sometimes you finish an interview and you got to call that next person. There's sadly just not the time to go ahead and process it. You have to come back to it. This is going to kind of help us in those situations to make sure we don't miss those little details. So let's go back over here and look at a couple more statuses. So the last two I want to kind of go over. We'll do what we call a little pop-up here. These are little quality reminders. So if we hit unable to contact, we're going to get a reminder that says, hey, I know it's unable to contact. Did you get your case notes in? Did you get that schedule status updated? These are small pieces of the puzzle, but they're very important. And once you see this once or twice, you're gonna be able to quickly see it. Okay, great, perfect. Now we got processing complete. Same thing. Did you get those case notes entered? Declination uploaded, work number uploaded, verdicts updated, schedule status updated. Yep, we did. Awesome. And just note, it can be really quick. Unable to contact? Yeah, I did it. I'm gonna hit enter. You can get that gone quick, but it's a good piece of the puzzle to make sure we get that quality, component of the case. All right, so the last little thing I'll go over as far as this section up here, 1st through the 31st, is this miscellaneous section. This one does act a little unique compared to the other ones. This is meant for accommodations, inquiries, where a customer comes in, needs a face-to-face interview. Basically where it doesn't fall within your standard appointment time slot. So this one right here, you can actually use this as much as you want. You can put a person's case on here one day, then the next one the next day, however you want to do it, but just know that you can clear this stuff. Pop-up will come up here saying, hey, are you sure you would like to clear it? All that stuff's going to be removed. And you're like, yeah, that's great. You can clear it and start again. This one's kind of up to how you want to do it, but I wanted to add this simply because not everything falls within a neat little package of, hey, your appointment's at 8 o'clock. All right, last little thing we're going to go into before getting into prepare a case for interview. All of these fields here, they are available to be manually inputted. So we can put this information in here and you can do it manually. That's no problem. I do suggest the import because our goal here is to save time, work smarter, not harder. But if there's a circumstance where something comes up on the fly, somebody accidentally schedules you an interview an hour later when they're not supposed to, we can use this feature without having to import, and it's not really going to impede our progress. And just note once again for pop-ups, notice these are green. These are required. So if we hit this prepare case for interview, we're going to get a pop-up that says, hey, we gotta put some of that information in there. So we need that case number, need that T number. For T numbers, if we're renewals, NA or none, something like that, something simple, just to say, hey, it doesn't have one, no problem. All right, so let's hop into the prepare case for interview button. This is where we're going to spend a little bit of time. So this is where you'll be preparing each case for interview and doing your pre-checks. I know a lot of people that use Word documents, or some even do it on pen and paper. They'll have a unique paper for a case. They'll have a unique Word document for a case. Some people may have a unique Word document for a day, where they have all their cases on there, okay? Instead, we're doing it inside the case pal, but basically each little button here will take you to that individual area, okay? So let's go ahead and hop into here. In this case, we have Daryl X. Here's our case number. Since we imported our schedule, it's already filled out his name, his case number, appointment date, appointment time, stuff we don't have to worry about anymore. Okay, so each specific day, in this case the 3rd of November, does have 17 slots for every appointment. If we scroll down, they're all on one page, okay? So there's Catherine, the 8:30, there's 9 o'clock, the Michael, etc. Now, if we go back here and click on, we'll say we want to go to Kimberly, hit this button, it'll take you directly to Kimberly. So I would suggest coming back here and go into the case you want to do, unless you know it's just right there ready for it, okay? So there was Tiffany. Let's go and scroll back up to Daryl up here. All right, next thing, green boxes. You're going to get tired of hearing me saying it, but green boxes. So these green boxes, specifically here, they're here to help you save time. You'll notice some of the questions: source, application type, application date, county of residence. These are actually items that are on your case notes, that are on your declination. When you're typing this stuff in, doing your pre-checks, you're basically already starting to fill out your case notes and your declinations. So when we do our county of residence here, and we go ahead and say Macon, you just filled out a piece of your declination. And this is information you can get from the case summary screen right when you start the stuff. It's all right there on the same page. Go ahead and get that thing entered. There are a lot of drop downs in this whole program. If you're a drop down fan, great. Use the drop downs. If you're like me, M, A, maybe go down, pick. There's a lot of different ways to use this that should be kind of adjusted depending on your needs. So next, we got source. This is accessing the case notes, so we may as well go ahead and do it. We're right there on the case summary, so we can quickly decide, hey, what happened here? Vendor mail, dropped off, digital, customer portal. We want to go ahead and enter that since we're right there. One of the bad things about the case notes sometimes, when you get to it, it makes it where you're kind of popping around. You're like, I don't remember if that was customer portal. I don't remember if that was, something we got through the mail hub. Go ahead and hit that. Application type, renewal intake, etc. Y'all kind of know what we're going on here. The one thing that'll be pretty similar for every single case is this section right here. General info and app review. These will be pretty much filled out. You'll notice over here and down here, there is no green except for one slot. I really want to stress that these can be used any way you please. Okay? This section's here, verify prior to interview. We do want to put that in there just so we're thorough. So you can go ahead and have a place to say, they turn in their checking, savings, whatever it may be. But driver history info, miscellaneous pre-interview notes, general interview notes, it's kind of up to you on how you want to utilize it. So whatever your current process is for it, you can adjust it kind of here. We'll see some examples here in a minute from some of my workers, but everyone does it different. I have a certain way I do it. Some of my workers have a certain way. Some of my people using this case file that aren't my reports, they use it a different way. That's okay. Adjust it to your needs. Some people put a lot of information in. Some people pretty minimal. But this is always there as a reminder. Did you do work number, thesis, Paris, the what is TELC? Lottery stuff, soul queue, new hire, etc. Okay. So just kind of know this is kind of open to y'all. Like, learn how to use it the way you want to use it, for as little or as much as you want to. All right, so let's do this. Let me kind of look up my notes here real quick. So as far as like the flow, here's the general thought process. This is information you're getting off the case summary. This is information you're getting off the app. Some of this is on the app as well. Then we do our interfaces, and then we work on our notes. So that's just generally kind of thought process flow. This will actually flow through if we're hitting enter. It'll go through and it'll do the way it's supposed to do. It'll be like, hey, here's what's next. Here's what's next. You'll notice you can't click on certain things you're not able to. So don't be scared. You can only click where you want to click. You can't mess anything up. So don't worry about that. Use it as you want to use it. All right, next little thing, you'll see this orange box. I just want to put special attention to this. It's just a neat little feature. So down here, we do have a household members list. This is where you can list everybody in the household, mom and 3 kids, mother, father with one kid, etc. You'll notice two green boxes. This is specifically used for the declination. Once again, we're already having to type this customer's name a lot. We'll go ahead and put it here. You're putting that on the declination in theory. There's social right there, which we're going to have to use for pre-checks. Put that there. You've already put it on the declination now. Okay. So one thing about this AU size, notice this is a pretty big page. There's a lot going on here. 17 cases. We can utilize this AU size here. That will change it. Make it a little smaller. Make it a little more user-friendly. And furthermore, in our example, we say we have a household of 4. This will also give us some standard guide information. What's the gross limit? What's the net limit? Allotment, SUA. Notice we got a deposit date. We'll say their social is 410-55-5555. Hey, when's my deposit date again? It's the 12th. I got that information for you. This is stuff we can always go over to a standards guide to do, but this will save us a little bit of time here. Okay. So let's do this here. Let's go ahead and get that information off of there. You know what? Let's go ahead and keep that on here. So last little thing, you'll notice there's one more button. Let's go over. Copy unable to contact case notes. It happens. People turn in an application. We try to call them. They don't answer. It's going to happen. So what we're going to do is, just for fun, let's go ahead and do this copy notes. Pop up. We forgot the phone number. Whoops. 423-44-4444. Let's say it again. We forgot to do call attempts. All right, we'll say 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. and 8:15, 8 a.m. Great. So copy unable to contact notes. Perfect. We just copied the case note template and our notes that'll go directly into EBMS. Okay. So real quick, let's just go look at a few examples. Let's pop back over to here. We'll scroll down real quick and we'll come back to that. Boop. I apologize, I have the wrong file. That's okay, we can adjust. So I'll show you an example of that here in a little bit. But for now, I want to go ahead and show y'all what some of the ECCU's case file do in that section up there. This is how they use it. So this top example, they don't use a lot of the fields like in for the interfaces, driver history, miscellaneous pre-interview notes. They got all of their stuff right there in the general interview. That's perfect. It's great. Whatever works for you. They put all of their pre-checks, unemployment, childcare, working information, income or work number. That's where they like having all their information right there at their fingertips. So to each their own. This individual, a little less, probably a simple case. They actually use a couple of these fields up here. The big ones, income stuff. No findings, upload a work number. Great little reminder. Here's some driver history information so they know what to talk about during the interview. Next one, a little more stuff here. Good bit of notes here down at the bottom. Got a prisoner verification up here, so good little spot to put it as your reminder. Say, hey, I need to talk about this during an interview. It's going to bring your attention to it, okay? It looks like they have some pre-checks down here. That's fun, aggravated assault. It looks like they actually have some information during the interview, so they utilize that during the interview. Once again, same kind of information. Up here, clear, general information here, expenses, income, rent. So y'all are kind of getting the picture here. This one, not a lot going on. That's okay. Some cases are simple and you don't need a lot of notes. It's okay if this looks like this. Use it how y'all would like to use it. Okay, written statement. All right, perfect. Awesome. Earnings, y'all get the point. There's a lot of different ways to use this, okay? So I just really want to stress that's kind of what we're looking at. And you know what, while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and show you all this. At 4 o'clock, there's a little pop-up reminder. Go check your schedule status. So just know that's going to happen. All right, so let's pop back here. All right, now let's get into some of the big stuff. Interview sheet, okay? So you'll notice one last button on this page. It's transfer to interview sheet right here. Each special section, each case has its own button. It is only going to transfer, move that data over for this section right here, okay? Just worried about this. Anything you enter here will be moved over. So if you have a book in this section, it'll be moved over. If you have 2 words right here and that's it, it'll be moved over. Okay, so basically all of your pre-checks are going to be pushed to the interview sheet, ready to go. So let's go ahead and hit that button. Once again, we got a little pop-up saying, hey, this will remove any information on the interview screen. Make sure you're done with your previous case. That information will be gone. It's basically removing it and saying, let's start a new case. So we want to make sure we're done with that information. We are. Say yes. And it's doing its thing, thinking a little bit, and it's going to transfer over that information. Except I did a bad example. My apologies. So for fun, let's just use this little thing here. Boop. And we'll say that was the information we're pulling over there. So this is the information. This is our little fake case. Making bank and trust, checking, savings, 4 pay stubs from Walmart, lease agreement, electric, general information here. Household of, 1, 3, however much we want to make it. So where we want to start, just going down, is this information was pulled over, and we're getting here, person interviewed. Notice green boxes. Once again, this is stuff that's going to pull directly to your case notes or directly to your declination, so it is required. Do you need an EBT card? Important question. Got to have that. Yes, no. So we're going to put Jane Doe up here. Interview date, we'll say it's today. No, they didn't need an EBT card. Of course, we asked them registered to vote. They say they're already registered. Fantastic. Everything else on this page, you'll notice there's not a lot of green. There's almost no green. But this information is here in case you need it. There's household information we filled out before. It pulls that down. Military, eligibility, violent crimes, drug felonies, all the standard questions you'll be asking. Authorized rep, school, household information. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Y'all know these. This is standard information. Notice there's a lot of fields, a lot of cells, medical expenses, child support, shelter. It has scripts. Maybe we forgot, how to ask a certain thing because it's rare. We got a script for that. It's there. Next 2 sections, I'm just going to make these green because they are required. You'll notice, do expenses exceed income? If yes, how's it being paid? That's probably the most important question on the case notes. Green, right there. We got to hit that every time. If it doesn't, not applicable. That happens. Collaterals, pre-provide names. We got collaterals there. We'll get that filled out. ABOD, work registration, general information, good information, especially now with the new HR1 changes. ENT script, general information, rights and responsibilities, reporting changes, y'all get the picture. All right, so real quick, I'm just going to kind of fill that information out again real quick, just with a little macro fun. Let's go on down, right back to where we got here. And then finally, Verish requested none. Did we need rent, utilities, pay stubs? Notice, green filled, we got to get that in. But of course, since we're filling it out, that's going to go to our case notes down here. Okay? So we're going to do a little bit of a detour here. So let's do this. We got all the way to the bottom, of course. A lot of information. I know what y'all are thinking. Zach, that's a lot. There's a lot of interview scripts, so many cells to fill out, stuff to scroll through that I already know how to address during the interview. I would respond, I got you. Okay, I got y'all. If you recall, while we were quickly scrolling through all the various interview sections, there were very few required green boxes. This program was designed not only to have brand new EC1s in mind, but also EC2s, intermediates, and of course, our fantastic veterans have been here 5, 10, 20 years. Some of them have completed thousands upon thousands of interviews. Y'all know the drill. So we're going to take a quick detour to the settings section on the setup and help page, okay? So let's pop over here. Scroll up a little bit. And this section we passed over earlier, we're going to talk about that. So with great power comes great responsibility. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Those are my caveats to this section. Most things on that interview sheet can be adjusted to your preferences, your style, your knowledge level, okay? So notice right here, initial questions expanded. We have a drop down. We can make that simplified, expanded. Military, we can make it simplified, expanded. We can hide it. Okay. I really do want to stress the importance of if you're going to hide things, know that information. You know, like that's a big deal. So, as an example, EC1's just starting out. I would keep it all as is until your comfort level raises. You know, we want to get those basics down. We got to have those basics. New EC2s, maybe you start adjusting some fields. Maybe you turn one of them into simplified. You know how to ask questions about the military. It's pretty straightforward. Anyone currently in the military, when's your discharge date, etc. Pretty simple. That works. It's all about comfort level. Grizzled veterans, go wild. Do as you please. Y'all know your strengths and weaknesses. If you don't, keep it on there. If you do, take it off of there. Maybe you know how to do the ENTs. I know that drill. I don't need a reminder. I don't need a script there. Let's remove that. Let's take a little bit off of that screen so it's not as overwhelming. That's perfect, okay? Just always remember, regardless of experience level, these settings can be changed at any moment. Okay, so if you decide you don't like something, come back here and change it. It'll adjust it. Okay. So just to give you all an idea of kind of what it looks like. All right, we're going to do a little U-turn here. I'll scroll up here. I'm going to talk about this button here in a second, but this basically just clears the entire form. We're going to clear that. I just want to show you some of the stuff you can do on here. So let's go to Setup and Help, Initial Questions. I'm going to make everything a lot easier. I'm going to say I'm pretty experienced. I know the drill. I want that to be simplified. I want this to be simplified. I want this to be simplified, etc. So we're going to hide some stuff. We're going to expand some stuff. If I could type, simplified on that one, simplified on that one. Maybe on these things over deductions, I like those there. Maybe I need some help with some scripts. That's fine. Work registration, I know that drill. I ain't worried about that. ENT, general info, rights and responsibilities. I could get better talking about that. We're going to leave that on there. So there's our settings we're coming up with. Let's just go take a quick look at kind of what that looks like. So we'll notice it's already looking a little bit different. This one kind of reduced, just the important information. There's not some extra stuff. Notice some of the stuff, military, we put simplified. There's just simply a box here we can type in. Maybe they said, hey, I'm a Navy veteran and I was discharged 2006, etc. It's just a little note reminder. That's perfect, okay? So notice here, some of these are full, some of them are not, and some of them are gone, those sections, because we said, comfortable with it, I don't need those little reminders. Perfect. Notice this is a lot more manageable now. A lot less overwhelming. But no, that stuff is there if you do need it, okay? So I just really want to kind of stress that. Let's go ahead and put all these back to their intended thing. We'll put them all back to expanded. We'll make them show. Perfect. And we're right back where we started, back to a full. So it can be done on the fly. All right, we're going to do another little magic here. We're going to get our information back in here. That's not something you'll have to worry about. I'm just trying to save everybody a little bit of time. So let's go down here to verifications requested. All right. And while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and talk about one little thing, and I apologize. So let's go to Setup and Help, simply because we're here. Case note templates. This is a fun little thing. Nothing required, but you can pick the color of your case notes that go directly into EBMS, okay? So to give you an idea, here's what some of the templates look like and what the colors look like. That one's gold. Yeah, blue, which is my personal favorite. Nice and neutral, gray, and that'll change what your case notes actually look like going in there. We did try to make these case notes easy to read, easy to follow. Certain lines are, a little darker, so it's easier to read. And it's sometimes with case notes, you kind of get lost in them. All those yes, nos, which is hard to decide if you hit yes or no on sometimes, or which answer it was, we're looking to simplify here. So just a heads up, we kind of got that going on there. So back to our interview sheet. Got this. Just doing a little catch up on my notes here. All right, fun stuff. Let's do fun stuff. We're now at the point in our example, we've finished our interview. It's time to completely process the case while not forgetting all the complete, various side tasks that go with it. So let's talk about the buttons. I've kind of showed y'all that clear form button. That basically clears the form. There's also other ways y'all notice when you transfer data in, it'll go ahead and clear that form. So it's not something you have to use a lot, but maybe you'll have to do that if you have a snap interview that needs to be done. Hey, I got a customer in the lobby. Can you interview them in 10 minutes? That'd be a great time for this one. Say, I'm just going to work right off the interview screen. I don't need to worry about all the pre-check stuff. I'm just doing it on the fly. Great. So the next thing, we have auto fill case notes. Okay. So one thing we're going to go up, we're like, hey, there's no green. Perfect. We've done all the stuff we have to do. And we have our case notes down here. This is that information we have to fill out. Notice all that green. We got to get it. All the time, have to. This program is going to force you to. We can't miss a field accidentally because it won't let you. Okay. So just as another example, I'm going to take out various requested. We hit that button, it's going to be like, no, 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 we missed a field. So let's go ahead and get that back in there. And let's go ahead and do this little thing here. So we get that, autofill case notes. Boom. Everything y'all filled in up until this point has been brought down. We don't have to type it again. We don't have to go up into our notes above, grab it, and pull it back into its appropriate section. It's going to do that for you. Notice that drops it down to only needing 4, 5, 7 fields we'll need to worry about because y'all have already done that legwork. Doing your initial pre-checks, you're doing that legwork already. So save time. Autofill those case notes. So in this one, all we got to worry, what's the due date? Since we're doing it today, I believe that would be the 14th, if I'm correct. If not, that's fine. Yes, I apologize for that. That's just a little visual graphic glitch on here. Does all information match? Yes. NA. We called John, verified residence and household comp because we thought it was questionable. Great. Yep, in our example, yeah, Jane's working 30 hours per week. So they're good with work registration and ABOD. And since they turned in all their verifications already, yeah, we're going to get them approved. Perfect. Okay. So let's do this. Pull over this. All right. So kind of coming back to what those case notes will look like. We kind of showed that, but here's that unable to contact from earlier. This is what it would look like going into EVMS. For our next button, when we hit the copy case notes, since we're all done, all the green is here, when I hit that little button there, it's going to make a copy of this, put it into that special format with the colors, your selected thing, and put it into a very easy to read format. Scroll down. Here's an example of kind of what one of those looks like. This individual was gray. I like it, nice and neutral. We have all that information here. Okay, whatever you put in here, it's coming over. I blacked out some of this stuff, of course, just due to confidentiality, but this is kind of the way it's going to look. So it won't necessarily look like it did on that screen. That's just where you're inputting that data. It's going to take that data, change it over, and make it look more visually appealing. Hopefully easier to other caseworkers to read, QA, QC, other supervisors, everything. Okay. So we got that right there. The next section, which is my personal favorite, I'm gonna be honest, we got autofill declination. Okay. Once again, any autofill feature relies on the green box. Okay, so just for fun, let's go up here. We're gonna take out this social because we all know gotta have a social on a declination. Let's hit it. It's gonna remind you, okay? So you can rely on it to pull the information as long as we type what we need to in those boxes and you don't type gibberish, just random things. It'll pull it. Okay, so let's get that back in there. And let's go ahead and do autofill declination. That's going to be our next piece of the puzzle. We've put our case notes in, we've done the interview, declination of Earth, right? So let's do autofill declination. It will pull over all of your information that you typed a long time ago, the case number that you never had to type, name, your name, the date, because that's the day the interview was, all that good stuff. It's done. You're good to go. You save that bad boy on your desktop, it'll automatically put it with a case number and declination so you can find it. put it where you want to find it, you're good to go. Okay? So just remember on the interview sheet, autofill declination at the end, save it, good to go. Upload it to EBMS, save yourself some time. Next, I'll go over this real quick. There is a clear button here. Sometimes maybe we forgot to do the declination. We got to go back and do it. It happens. Maybe once again, it was an accommodation. We don't really have information. We're just like, we got to get that declination there. All this stuff, we can clear this. Once again, that information's gone. All right, that's fine. We can't enter this manually. Once again, green boxes. Make sure all that required information is there and then print it. Okay, so just know that is a thing there. All right, so we got that. Last button on this page. Like I said before, I'm a pack rat. I think a lot of y'all are pack rats. I know some of y'all are. So what we can do is we can also save case information to PDFs. Okay. So like I said before, I have my first case I ever did. I want to keep that. So what we can do after we're done, or pretty much at any point, we can save that case information. It'll put our case number that's up there, right here. It'll say interview. We can save that information where we please. So just an example, let's go ahead and go back and let's go look at, apologies, I got a little drop down issue. There we go. Here's what that case information looks like. It is a snapshot of what you've done, everything you filled out. Whatever you have showing on that page, this is what it has. Got your full case notes down here if we need to reference that. We've all been there. We forgot to put in case notes. It happens. Here it is. This will be our quick reference so you can kind of rebuild that and get that back in there timely without having to guess. Here's that declination that we did earlier. Just like an official one, just like we're using the Word document. Everything is the exact same. Great. Most recent revision. We're good to go. All right, so let's go back into our case pal, and we're almost done here, guys. I want to just quickly go over some of these extra buttons we really haven't talked about too much. We talked about this a little bit just to kind of show the colors, but these are just some suggested case templates. These are not required. You can use these or not. Maybe you have your own templates that you just prefer because it has less information or more information or different information. That's fine. That's good. But these are here if you want it. Once again, trying to consolidate templates into one single place as opposed to another Word document. So quickly going over it, case change, verification check. This one I'm a really big fan of, verification check with quality review. We do know the last person to touch a case, it's your case, regardless if you interviewed it. So sometimes we need to put that extra work in and check these things. So here's just a little checklist saying, did you go check all these things? Okay. Once again, another unable to contact and just a good old-fashioned blank renewal case notes. Each of these has a clear option where it'll clear just that section. And once again, you can copy just that section. But of course, please fill out the benefits received before doing it. Safety. It's going to check it just to make sure we don't accidentally miss something. It happens. We're human. Next thing, we've kind of looked at a little bit, but I'm going to talk about the other things on there. Declination and tools. There's that declination we talked about, but one of my also personal favorite things on here, and this is very old school. This has been around for, I'd say, at least a decade to my understanding. I've used it every day. Income calculators. I personally am a big believer of, especially with our number one error rate being income, we need to double check, triple check our work. What I personally do when I get pay stubs or work number, I put that information in here. I want to see what should EBMS say. Then once I get it into EBMS, I'm like, do these match? Did I make a mistake? Did I make a mistake on the front end here? Or possibly in EBMS and maybe I transposed a number. That's an error. So this is a good way to kind of catch that. You can use these or not. These are optional. I like them. I prefer them. I want to, be a little nitpicky on myself, so I'll use these. There are some instructions here. I want you to go over that, but just there are some instructions. Feel free to utilize it. Down here, here's just a couple quick, excuse me, a couple quick templates for if you need a manual supplement or a manual claim that needs to be sent to your supervisor. Here's a template to use if you want to use it. Once again, purely optional. Instructions down here if y'all want to do it. Last little thing, resources. The standards guide, the best resource we have as a caseworker, bar none. I've got it thrown in here just to make sure it's a click away. Once again, reducing documents we have to have open otherwise. We don't have to go searching for it. We don't have to go find the tabs. It's right there. Okay, this one has been updated as effective the 1st of October, so it's ready to go. And then next we do have some links. All these things y'all should have in your bookmarks, but they're right here as well. QA for SNAP, TANF, training and resources, policy and forms, calculators. You know, doing off on budgets, this is your best friend right there. All right, so that's pretty much we got resources there. Let's hop on back, and we are almost done, guys. Let's go to our PDF guide. I'm pretty much just going to kind of put this on the page for a moment, but I do feel like this is useful information. Let's see if I can find it. All right, so here's just some recommendations and tips that I couldn't really feel like I could fit in somewhere. A lot of this stuff we did talk about, so I'm not going to go over it word for word. But the number one thing after the initial setup, I mentioned before, this is meant to be used on a month-to-month basis. Like a new month, use a new case pal, like a new copy of it, basically. So as a best practice, set up your case pal, put your settings in there for your interview sheet, put in your username, put in your RACF, all that good stuff, all the basic stuff. Make a copy of that case pal, like on your desktop or in a folder, and then basically rename those files. Maybe one of them's November 2025. The next one's December 2025. Okay. And then it'll kind of be quickly set up, and then you'll always be able to go back and reference, hey, I have a case in this month. Let's go look in this file. I know it's there. Okay. So that's just a little tip. Feel free to look at those. These are all in the PDF, so I'm not going to go over them. You'll have access to this. Okay. So last little bit. This pretty much does include the official presentation and training. So here in a moment, I am going to wrap it up with a little bit of a Q&A. Like I said, that'll be informal. But for now, for anyone watching this video, that is going to wrap up our presentation, and I am going to go ahead and stop recording at this time. So thank you all for joining me.